When I was 15, I was looking for a new PlayStation on Craigslist. I've always heard that Craigslist could be sketchy, but it was the cheapest place I knew of that I could get my hands on one. My PS4 had broken a few days prior, so I really wanted a new one as soon as possible. As I was browsing through listings, I saw one that caught my eye. The price the guy was asking for it seemed pretty low. Almost too good to be true low. But as I said before, I was desperate at this point, so I went ahead and contacted the seller. We had arranged to meet up later that day. Nothing seemed to be weird just yet. However, when it came around time to meet, just 30 minutes before, he asked me if we could reschedule to a few hours later than we originally planned. I said sure, but I was a little annoyed at this point because it was already 5 p.m. and I'm from the Midwest. It was also winter, so it's pretty much pitch black by 7 p.m. I decided to just say screw it and meet up with him a few hours later. I told my parents I was going to the store and I would be back in a few. I knew if I told them what I was doing, there's no way in hell they would let me go. I know that was wrong of me to lie, but I was a dumb teenager. What can I say? Anyways, on my way there I got this intense gut feeling, like something was wrong. At this point it was like 8:30 p.m, so it didn't help that it was extremely dark outside. I live in a slightly rural area, so that kind of added to the eeriness if I'm being honest. After a moment of driving, I received a notification on my phone. It was a text from him. I don't remember his name, so I'll just call him George from now on. He was asking me if I could just come to his house instead of meeting at the park like we had talked about previously. Immediately, I knew in my heart something was off. I just really wanted the PS4, and I was already upset that he delayed our meetup. And I didn't want to come back empty-handed and drive all that way for nothing. I made the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life by going to his house that night. When I got there, the vibe was off. I can't explain how I felt, but the way I was feeling was something I've never experienced. Being the dumb, naive 15-year-old I was, I proceeded to knock on the door. The house looked really old, and it was dimly lit up. Almost no light at all coming from the house. Like I said before, this was in a pretty rural area, so there weren't many other houses around. On my way up to the porch to knock on the door, I started to second guess myself. Like maybe I should just turn around. I don't know why, but I didn't. I really wish I would have though. I'm not going to lie to you, at this point I'm shitting bricks. I knocked on the door ever so lightly. He opened the door almost immediately, with the PS4 in his hand, and introduced himself. It was like he was waiting there for me or something. He asked if I'd like to come inside and see him turn the PS4 on, and that everything works properly before I buy it. I sat there briefly in silence for just a moment. I stuttered, no thanks, I'm good. He gave me a kind of a weird look, like I maybe offended him or something. I gave him the money and he handed me the PS4 and some extra stuff that came with it in a box, like games, a controller, and all the cords it needed. He asked me if I was sure that I didn't want to come inside and check that it works before I take off. I told him that I really had to get home because my parents have a curfew for me, and I'll be in big trouble if I'm not home on time. After I said that, he had this dark and evil look in his eyes. It was a good thing I was standing 6 feet or more away from him because he quickly reached out for my arm and tried to grab me and pull me inside. I immediately dodged his attempt and took off running and screaming to my car. I swear I've never ran faster than that in my entire life. Despite running fast, it felt like forever before I got to my car. I had to run down steps and it was dark, so I had to be careful I didn't fall. He was an older man and relatively out of shape. I assumed that just from looking at him. So I didn't think he could catch me. But still, my heart was racing so fast I thought I was going to have a heart attack. The whole way to my car he was screaming at me, calling me every name in the book, and said I was lucky that I got away, otherwise I'd be in his basement right now pleading for help. Like you deserve, he said. When I got in the car, he was only halfway to me. I took off so quick and never looked back. Come to think of it now, I don't think that was really his house. It had to be abandoned or something. Either way, I don't know and I don't care. I'm just happy I'm okay. I still have nightmares about this quite frequently. I've never told anyone about this before, nor will I ever. Especially not my parents, they would kill me. Anyways, I learned a lesson that night that I'll never forget. I really needed some extra money when I was a teenager a few years back, so I looked online at Craigslist for some opportunities to potentially make some money. I wasn't really expecting anything to come out of it at all actually. It was just a morbid curiosity of that I might have been able to strike gold and find something good. What I found was an ad that said they needed someone to help with some yard work. It caught my eye because the person who posted the ad was in the same city as me and only a few miles away. I knew this because I live in a small town, and I mean really small. No more than 10,000 people live here. It said they would pay $150 for around 2 to 3 hours of work. I immediately jumped to it and contacted him. He said he was too old to be doing this type of work and that he really appreciates me coming out to help him. He seemed like a good man and very nice over the phone, so I didn't think much of it. He asked if I could come out the next morning, and I said of course. I told my mom what I was doing and where I was going, and she was okay with it. Slightly concerned, but she was okay with it. I have my own cell phone, so if anything were to go wrong, I could call someone immediately for help. Everyone in the town where I live are very nice and friendly people anyways. Almost no crime here at all, and generally a safe area. Everyone knows everyone here. Any sort of crime is almost completely unheard of. Anyways, when I got there the following day and I met the man I was helping out for the day, who we'll call Bob, everything seemed pretty normal. He showed me what he wanted me to do. He explained he wanted me to rake up some leaves in the front yard, pick up some sticks and debris, and pull the weeds out of his mulch/garden bed and driveway, and all around the house as well. He explained that he had everything I needed for the job, and that I can use his tools. He gave me gloves, a rake, some yard waste bags, and an empty garbage can. We made small talk for a moment, but then he started asking me a lot of questions. Nothing weird at first. He asked me how old I was, where I was from, and what my name was. I proceeded to tell him my name and that I was from the same town, just a few miles down the road. That's when everything took a sharp turn. He started asking me some very strange personal questions that I don't even feel comfortable sharing right now. I'll let you take that how you decide. Just know they were not appropriate questions to be asking a 16-year-old whom you just met. I was very short with him and told him I needed to get to work because I have to be home by a certain time. He walks away and I began the job. He seemed very angry at this point and I didn't understand why. I thought about leaving because I was so uncomfortable about what just happened, but I was also too anxious to leave at the same time. I'm not sure why, but I stayed and finished the job. It took me about 2 hours to complete. It was really weird because through the whole time I was working, I would catch him staring at me here and there through multiple different windows, sometimes with this very creepy smile on his face, almost condescending in a way. In my head, I was thinking, what the hell is wrong with this man? But I had already showed up, started the job, and I wanted my money. So I completed it like I said. When I was finished, I grabbed everything he let me borrow and put it on his front porch. I knocked on the door to let him know I was finished with the job. He handed me $120 and told me to get out of here in a very demanding and rude way. I stood there for a moment in shock and kind of just stared at him because I was confused. He began screaming at me and telling me to get the hell away and to get off his property. I didn't even care at that point that he didn't pay me the full $150. I was so scared that something bad was going to happen that I booked it to my car and went home. On my way to the car, he was sort of yelling at me saying he'll see me soon. That if I didn't want anything bad to happen, to not tell anyone what happened. He yelled my address at me. I cannot believe the words that came out of his mouth. How in the hell did he know my address? What does he want from me? I started crying on my way home, and I mean I was hysterical. I'd never been that scared in my life. I kept looking behind me to make sure he wasn't following. He wasn't, but that didn't really help how I was feeling. I was absolutely fucking terrified. When I got home, I rushed to my bedroom and tried my best to gather my thoughts. I was too scared to tell my parents what had happened. I was worried if I did, and I got him arrested, that when he got out of jail, that he would for sure try to kidnap me or something crazy like that. I lied awake all night that night. I didn't even attempt to sleep because I was so anxious. It wasn't until maybe around 1:30 a.m. that I heard a car outside and a car door shut kind of quietly. I peeked through my window and it was him. It was the same car that was at Bob's house. I was freaking the hell out, so I ran out of my room, into my parents' room screaming, and I told them everything that was going on and that there was a man outside that was going to try and hurt me. My dad grabbed his pump shotgun and started screaming at him and threatening him. He took off, and I never seen him again after that. My parents called the police and got him arrested for harassment and attempted aggravated assault or something like that. This was over 3 years ago. But I still live in the same house, and still to this day, I have nightmares and anxiety about what happened. I don't even like staying at home alone anymore either. I hope I never see him again. I was selling my old couch on Craigslist because I had just got a new one and I didn't want my old one anymore. It wasn't in the best shape. It definitely lived its life and served its purpose. But I bought it for like $800 a few years back and expected it to be worth at the very least $250. I put it on Craigslist for $300, with the idea already in my head that I wouldn't take anything less than $200. I had some people reach out to me, but I'm sure you know that if you've ever sold something online before, people like to be flaky when it comes to buying stuff online. They will message you and seem interested and just ghost you. Anyways, I had people reach out to me, but no one serious until maybe just over a week after posting my ad on Craigslist. I received a call from a guy. He told me his name was Jim. He said he would like to come look at the couch and wanted to know if he could stop by later tonight when he gets off work. I told him that would not be a problem, so I gave him my address. Not even an hour after that, he showed up to my house. I heard a knock on my door, wondering who it was because Jim wasn't supposed to be here for another 3 hours or so. I looked through my peephole to see if I recognized who was knocking. I didn't recognize the man at all. "Hello? Who are you?" I asked him in a very weary tone. "Hi, it's Jim. I talked to you on Craigslist about the couch. I know I'm a bit early. I probably should have called. I'm sorry." I cracked my door open with a slight concern on my face. Okay, I said. I opened the door all the way and told him to come on in. He looked at the couch and asked if I would take $150 for it. I told him no, the lowest I could do is $200. He seemed a bit irritated by that, but the couch was worth more than $150. I mean, I'm sure if I waited long enough, I could sell it to someone else for $250 to $300. He said okay and that he could do $200. He asked if he could use my bathroom real quick because he has a long drive home. I told him that I didn't mind and pointed him to the bathroom. Right then and there, I had this weird feeling like something was wrong. I told myself I was just being anxious and ridiculous, so I tried not to think much of it. When he came back out of the bathroom, it was like his whole personality changed. I'm not exaggerating. He seemed like a whole new person. The face he was making, the way he was talking, and his tone of voice all changed. He said, "Look, you're gonna give me the goddamn couch for $150 or I'm gonna take it from you." Before he even had time to finish his sentence, 2 more guys came through my front door with knives in their hand and headed towards us by the couch. I started freaking out and begged them not to hurt me and that they can have the couch and I won't call the cops and to please leave. I told them I have a family and I don't want anyone getting hurt and that they can just have the couch. I must have repeated myself at least 10 times in a frantic cry. I was absolutely terrified. They took the couch and I never called the cops because I have a wife and 2 sons that I love deeply, and I worry about their safety more than anything. We were renting that house, so we decided to look for another place to live because of what happened. In the last 5 months of living there, I never seen them again, and hopefully I never have to.